Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to In Between. Do I need to keep introducing myself? Maybe. We're still at season 2. I am your host, Grace Kipasa. Thank you for being here with us. I wanted also to take this time to thank everybody who's been writing us, emailing us, telling us how much you love our show. But to show us more support, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, share, like our page, follow us, comment. And if you would like to be part of our show, make sure you write us. I want to hear your story. I am here with 2 wonderful ladies who wanted to sit down with me and talk to me about what life is like being a young mother, being a young wife, having ups and downs. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, we all go through that. But there's actually parts of their story that was involved with tragedy. And today, they want to share that story with you in the reason to uplift and bring joy to somebody's life. So, Betty.
Hi, Grace.
Eminence.
Hey, Grace.
I am so happy to have you guys here with me.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely grateful. Every time I receive, because nobody, you know us, we're from Congo. People want to be private with their lives. Nobody want to share their lives. But every time we get the opportunity here in Between on WBN to have people who want to help someone else, that's what I'm grateful for. So I'm grateful to have you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So I will give you guys an opportunity to go ahead and introduce yourself to the guests. Tell them what you guys do, because I want to kind of see if they can relate in where they are right now in their lives. And I'll start with you, Betty.
Hi, guys. My name is Betty Dity, like she said before. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am an up-and-coming content creator, and then I'm also a teacher.
Nice. Where are you teaching at, Betty?
Right now, just at my church.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I know you used to.
I haven't stopped.
No, you haven't stopped.
No.
I remember that story.
Right.
So, Eminence, can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yes, my name is Eminence South, or Eminence South. I am a wife, a mother, a teacher on sabbatical, and I am an entrepreneur.
Also,
Nice.
all of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
How do you guys balance life? Let's start with wife and mother. How do you balance it?
Betty, you want to start?
First, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's not something that I learned the first day.
Okay.
I had to take time and literally just figure out what works with what.
Right.
And then from there, I was able to balance it.
Right.
Honestly.
But Betty, so you married a Congolese man.
Yes.
But Eminence, you're in an interracial marriage, and your husband is American.
Yes.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
I will definitely say that whenever you see a Congolese couple, which I've seen a lot of, sometimes we tend to see the man just sit back.
Yeah.
And the woman is either in the kitchen or taking care of the children and running around, unless you find a really, really helpful Congolese guy. But that's usually what I've seen.
That what you've experienced?
Yes, I've experienced. Mm-hmm. But in my relationship, in my marriage, my husband is very helpful. Yeah. You know how they say in Congo, they call us, we are the 7th creature. Women are the 7th creature after the
devil?
After the couple. But here, you know, they put their women first. Yeah. So I have been able to experience that he will serve me first. Okay. He will want to do something when I'm tired. Okay. And I'm grateful for that.
No, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
And what's your experience like?
Well, I'm gonna have to say that little percentage of the Congolese men that you said that are not there. Yeah. I was blessed to have that one husband. Nice. You know, my husband cooks, my husband cleans, my husband does laundry, he helps with the kids, he does all of that.
And where is your husband from?
And he's from Congo,
Yeah.
So I was blessed to get that little percentage as well. So yeah,
it was. So you guys were able to. No, I just wanted to make that difference. Why? Because we all have different walks in life.
Right.
You're in a different walk in life right now. You're in a different walk in life right now. But you both went through similar situations and how you were able to overcome it. But you're a mother of one or two.
Yes.
You're also a mother of two. Yes. And as today we were discussing, I heard that you guys were considering calling them. You're a mother of a son and a bonus.
A bonus son.
A bonus.
Yes.
That is nice. I like that.
Yeah.
It sounds better than saying, the other words that people like to use or whatever. So tell me, how is that experience? How is motherhood treating you?
It's different.
Okay.
It's also like marriage. It is also a learning experience.
Okay.
When you become a mother, you don't think about yourself anymore. That's the number one priority.
Right.
And sometimes it can be hard because sometimes I feel like, for me personally, I tend to put my child first before I put my husband.
Oh.
And so sometimes it can become a struggle for me.
Right.
So I'm still learning, day by day on how to deal with that as well. But it's different.
It is.
Yes.
How was yours?
I will have to echo Betty there, because it is very hard. When you think about it, you look at a child and you're saying to yourself that this child can do anything if I don't do it for them. So I do put my son first a lot of times, but then as my mother and my mother-in-law are always reminding me, remember, he's there, Josh is there, you need to take care of him first. And so that keeps me in track, but it is very easy for you to forget about this adult person and think that they may not need me right now.
Right. Okay. So as you're forgetting about this adult person, and on top of that you guys have sons, it must be difficult, because they talk about the love of a mother to a son is like chocolate and marshmallows. Like you just swine. I used to see how my mom used to treat my brothers. I'm like, they're big boys.
Right.
Come on. So I'm sure I can understand where that experience come from. But before you guys got to being mothers, of course, and being wives and getting to that extensive, a lot happened before you got to there. A lot happened. Yes. Actually, a lot tragically happened before you got to there. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back so we can discuss what happened to these ladies that they wanted to come and share this story with us. We'll be right back.
What I'd like to tell them is, no matter the circumstances, the difficulties, no matter the struggles, I've come to understand one thing in life, and it is true for every human being on this earth. You have in you something divine. You have in you something great. You know what? The gift that you have, it might be singing, it might be speaking in public, it might be whatever it might be. All the ideas that you have is the divine in you shining. So let it shine. Believe in your talents. Believe in who you are.
Welcome back. We are still here on In Between, having our little in-between moments with Betty and Eminence. You guys got a chance to hear what they are: mothers, wives of sons, and bonus babies, and all that good stuff. But we're getting to the part about why are they here in the show today, and this is what we're going to talk about: the in-between moments. Betty, now I know, and this is because we discussed this, you and I, that before you got to even your marriage, it was difficult.
Right.
Very difficult. Because I believe that you and your husband were together for a very long time and decided to get married. And of course, in the African community, the moment you get married, they expect you to be pregnant the next day.
Right.
So people start looking, asking, ooh, what happened? What did you do? What's wrong with her? Right?
Right.
Don't they usually do that? What's wrong with her? Although people know that it could be the man or the woman. What's wrong with her? Maybe he's not happy. Maybe she's not happy. What's going on? Is this spiritual? Is this? People would say, and then every day you show up at church. You show up at weddings. People are like, are you pregnant yet? And they don't know what you're going through.
Correct.
How was that moment for you?
It was the hardest moment I can honestly say I've ever been through in my life. You know, when people say I've gone through depression, I've never understood what that meant until I went through what I had to go through.
Wow.
Honestly.
And what did you go through?
Like I said I spoke to you earlier.
Yeah.
I've been married for 4 years.
Yes.
And in the midst of those 4 years, I've lost 3 children.
Oh.
You know? And each year that a year went by, I would get pregnant and lose it.
Oh, wow.
And each year, my pregnancy would get further, but I would lose it.
Oh, wow.
So it was really hard.
Wow.
But I promise you, it was only by the grace of God that I'm here today.
Wow.
You know, because when you go through a moment like that, it's, I don't even know, there's no words that can even explain it.
What were you asking yourself? Like, God, is there something wrong with me? Is it what? How was your husband's reaction in this? How were you going through it?
You know, the hardest thing with that is what I always tell people is when you're going through a situation like that, this is the moment where it really tests your marriage.
Right.
It's either going to draw you guys together or separate you guys.
Okay.
So when I lost my first child, it brought us together.
Okay.
When I lost my second child, we were in the middle.
Right.
But when I lost my third one, it separated us.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Right.
So not only am I losing my children, I feel like I'm losing my husband as well.
Right.
So now I'm extremely alone.
Wow.
I don't have anybody to talk to because I don't know who I can speak to.
Right.
The people that I do talk to have never experienced that before.
So they can't relate.
They can't relate.
And I'm sure your husband, as you guys were going through this turmoil, he's also acting as a father. It's not that he wants to be, but he wants to be that father.
Right.
It's not that he's being a bad husband. It's just that what is happening.
Exactly.
And the pressure.
Oof, the pressure. Like you said, I am a Congolese woman.
Yes.
I go everywhere.
Yes.
Everybody's asking me, what's going on? Are you pregnant yet? This and this and that. Then you have people who come up to me and say, but what's wrong with you? Are you sick? Did you do something wrong? Are you cheating?
On your husband?
Are you cheating? Is that why this is not happening to you? There's so many things that are being said that you get to a point where you just want to go in a little box.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm tired of the questions.
Oh, wow.
So then, because the enemy likes to play a role, those questions start coming into my head, and I'm like, well, maybe it is something wrong with me.
Right.
So I call my mom. I call my uncles. During my diary ceremony, something wrong? Something happened?
Yes.
What is it? Am I cursed?
Yes.
So it's just a traumatic moment.
Everything comes out.
Everything.
Let me see. So we talked about this earlier on.
Yeah.
Your bonus child.
Yes.
It's actually your husband's child.
Correct.
Which makes it even
Harder.
worse.
Because I know that
He has a child.
Right.
So he's good.
Right.
So I'm
It's
the
me.
problem.
Correct.
How were you in that situation, Eminence?
Like Betty, I can't really relate because she was in a covenant in a marriage. Mine was more so when I was outside living my life in the world. While nobody knows what's going on, you know, but a few friends. I was dating a Congolese guy for, I can't remember, maybe 3 years. I can't remember. It's ages ago. But I went through 2 pregnancies with this guy, and they were all around the same time, but different years. So the first one, I remember I was in college. I found myself pregnant, and of course surrounded with anxiety. What am I going to tell my family? You know.
Yeah.
I'm an only child to my mother.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm
especially
gonna ruin
my reputation.
Exactly.
Yes.
So one of the toughest thing that I've ever done in my life was making a decision because I knew, or I thought that this is not it. I should not do this.
Right.
So I went ahead and had an abortion.
Right.
So that was the first big swung open door in my life.
Absolutely. Spiritually, especially.
And that's why whenever people say that it's my body, it's my choice, great, but we don't know the implications that it brings later.
Yes.
I've seen many women go through this and not know why their lives is spinning out of control after that.
Like you said, it's a spiritual door. It opened up.
Yes.
And how did you go from there?
From there, I brushed it off. And so it was on a Wednesday. The next day it was Thanksgiving. And I came to Thanksgiving.
As if nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
And you just had to make the hardest decision of your life for the very first time.
Yes.
And in us as Africans, this is where we choose family over anything. But then you find yourself years later like, so you guys were going to be okay with it? What did I do? Right. Was that the feeling that you were having?
Yes.
Later on, of course.
Later on, maybe the next year,
yes.
when I found myself going through that,
yeah.
again, at this point, I shut down.
Right.
A really good man of God reached out to me on social media.
Yeah.
They didn't even know what was going on in my life.
Yeah.
But maybe the Holy Spirit just told them.
Yeah.
And I remember I was dealing with this decision. I cannot go through this dark phase that I just dealt with for
right.
the past year.
Right.
And I say, I'm going to get up and I'm going to tell my mother. So I walked up, told my mother. I have never seen my mom be so crushed. She did not sleep nor eat for 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks, I saw her just broken down.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And at that point, and she told me, you know what? You are going to finish school. You are going to keep this child.
Yes.
And she talked to my grandma, and my grandma told her, we don't get rid of children.
There you go.
We keep them.
No.
So,
I
like
bet
you
that
said,
made it worse.
Yes.
Because if you would have talked to them previously, you wouldn't have been here.
Exactly.
Right.
All of this out of fear.
Yes.
Society, what would they say?
Yes.
Wow. And what happened?
So after that, I remember after our tour, I felt like I tore the family apart.
Yeah.
Midway through my pregnancy, I went to a doctor's appointment, and the doctor is trying to feel the heartbeat or hear the heartbeat, and she tells me, when was the last time you heard your baby move? And I was like, oh, it was maybe 2 nights ago. She said, okay, that's what I thought, because the baby is no longer.
My God.
So I went in by myself. And that was the darkness. I was blaming myself because after that, by the second pregnancy, everybody was telling me, you need to let go of this relationship. You can do it without the father. It's fine.
Right.
Because I was not, I was kind of stopping the Lord work in my life.
There you go.
So that's when I recommitted my life back to Christ.
Because that's the only way.
It is.
Yes.
That is the only way.
It is.
How do we get pulled out of darkness if it's not through Christ? But, before we even continue, because we're going to take a quick break, what was your biggest regret? And I say regret, why? Guilt, why? Because when you look back, you're like, can I let go? This is the second one? Is there something wrong with me? Because this man wasn't your husband. And he's not today. You married on and you moved on. What are you thinking now in your marriage? How did you talk to your husband? How did you do it? You know what I mean? How this turmoil, like, how do you get out of this? You know what I mean? Yes, Christ, but how do you even acknowledge that Christ is able to pull you out of this? But before we come back to this, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. As you heard the lady say, somewhere, somehow, a couple of people out there have been through this situation. How did you get out of it? How did you do it? How was the guilt? How do you live with it? We'll be right back. And we're back still here with Betty and Eminence. And Eminence was telling us how before you even got to your marriage, this is what happened. And it was difficult for you. And I even saw a moment that you even got emotional because it still brings back those memories. But today, glory to God, you're married and you have a child. How do you look at your son?
I see the grace of the Lord every time I look at him, just because I'm a sinner. I've killed, I've murdered. It does not matter what we choose to call it, but an abortion is murder. I just think I see the grace of the Lord every single day.
Yes.
When I look at him.
Because he looked past that
Yes.
and was able to bless you again.
Yes.
How did you share this with your husband? How was his reaction?
He was not judgmental because when I told him this, it was on a very emotional conversation. He knows that I had dealt with it, that I had asked the Lord's forgiveness, and he knows my stand on abortion. I am strictly pro-life. Anyone who reaches out to me to tell me, this is where I'm at, this is the decision I want to make, I always tell them, think, don't do it. Many people are looking for children, you know, put it up for adoption.
Right.
Now, Betty said something, she was talking about being judged. And I'm coming back to you, Betty.
Yeah.
How was the judgment? Because I'm sure people saw you pregnant the second time. How was the judgment on your life?
You know what's funny? People actually thought that I went through an abortion the second time. Because
Not
I did
even knowing.
not knowing what I went through. I had a 1 pound girl, baby girl, that I had to look at. I was given photos and even the birth or death certificate.
Wow.
So that broke me. But you know what it did also? It pushed me to seek the Lord
Even more.
even more.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And Betty, in this situation, so with Eminence, it happened before. And then after that, the Lord blessed you with a beautiful son, your husband, your marriage. And you talked about people talking, that part, the turmoil that it brought in your marriage.
Right.
Was it mostly because of the backlashes from people, family?
Yes.
Probably your husband being questioned, you being questioned.
Yes.
Were you ever annoyed, like, dude, mind your own business?
All the time.
How-
All the time. Because I always used to say, you would not be talking if you knew what I was going through.
Right.
If you knew that I'm able to conceive, but just can't keep the baby,
Right.
you wouldn't ask me those questions.
But they don't even know that sometimes it could be medical issues.
Exactly.
It could be, the baby, or it could be God
God's
himself.
timing. Yes.
Trying to build a testimony.
Yes.
But today you have a
Yes.
beautiful son.
Yes.
When you look at him, how do you feel? What is that feeling? What is it? Is it mercy? Do you call it grace? Do you call it forgiveness? What do you call that?
I call that my testimony.
Yes.
Because before I even went through all these three things, miscarriages, I always used to tell God, I want you to make me a testimony. But the funny thing about God is, he'll put you to the test for real.
Real.
You know, when I said that, I didn't really know what I was asking him.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once I went through test 1, I failed. Test 2, I failed. Test 3, I was like, okay, God, one more time. And then the 4th try,
Yes.
I passed and I got my son.
Oh, wow. Did
Honestly.
you blame yourself?
Sometimes I did. And then when I realized that it was God's timing, and when he was ready to give me a child, the time would come, I let it go.
Did you ever feel as if you were failing your marriage?
Absolutely.
As if it was your fault that it wasn't working?
Absolutely.
How did you get yourself out of that one?
I clinged on to my bonus child.
Yeah.
I made myself understand and also believe that honestly, that I wasn't maybe meant to carry a child by myself.
Oh,
Maybe my bonus child was the child that God wanted me to take care of.
exactly.
I loved on him.
Yes.
I treated him as if he came from me myself,
Yes.
and everything changed.
Look at that. Look at that. Now I know that you also have a bonus child.
Right.
How's your relationship with him?
Oh, really great. We have a full-on teenager.
Yeah.
But he's great.
Yeah.
You know, his father went ahead and named him Micah, so
Yeah.
he's a prophet of the Lord.
There you go.
And I spent days praying for him because, you know, he he's first in our home as a son. But it's almost like, he was daddy's only son for so long.
And now
then here comes, we're about to have another child.
Yeah.
So I know that he struggled with it.
Yes.
But man, when you see him now,
friends.
they're best friends.
So, but if you had, we're closing, and I just love these shows, but they don't give me enough time. But if you had something, Betty, I know that criticism, families were talking, Congolese people were talking.
Yes.
Same thing for you, Eminos.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's not the problem. You are.
Correct.
They blamed you. And I love the fact that you said that first trial brought you together. Second one, turmoil. Third one is separated. Now, whenever your blessing came, did it reunite you guys back?
Like never before.
Wow. Wow.
He's really our testimony.
Wow.
He really is.
Wow. Wow.
Better than we were before.
Oh, wow.
Before.
Wow. Do you think your husband understands?
Absolutely.
He understands.
Yes.
But he was just going through it.
Yes.
And sometimes I feel as if the Lord will put your husband to the test. But if you have something to say to that young mother, because we're going to have this again. We need to come back and talk about this again and elaborate even more.
Right.
But if you have something to say to that young wife, that young mother who just got married, who's going through the struggle, whose people are looking up their shirt like, when is it?
Right.
It takes 9 months. I mean, it can only go forward. You will see. I don't get why people ask that question, but that's personal. Anyways, if you had something to tell that young lady, that young woman, Betty, what would you tell that lady?
The first thing I would tell you is you're not alone. You are not the first person that has gone through it. You are not the last person who will go through it. And one thing that I will say is you will get through it. God will only let you go through a certain thing because he knows that you're able to handle that certain thing. Yes. I promise you. Yes. There are plenty of resources out there. If you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, research. There are resources. Yes. I don't even know what else to say, but just trust in God. Yes. Trust in the process, and his timing is the best timing. I promise. You will be gracefully excited in the end. You will definitely finish this race.
And I know we're talking about women, but I want you to say something else, Betty. What will you say to that newly wedded husband? From what came from your husband, what will you tell him as a man, as an advice? How do they treat their wife or in this process?
Right. Be patient with them. Understand that, yes, you guys are going through it together, but she's going through a lot, and she needs you at this moment like never before. And if you leave her, she already feels alone. So when you leave her, she's down to nothing, the bottom of the barrel. So at this moment is when you need to honestly I don't want to say put your pain aside, but just a little bit, and just cling on to her. She really needs you.
Now, Eminos, you're talking to two separate women. You're talking to that young woman who's thinking about, what will my parents say? What mistake am I about to make? What will you say to that young woman? But whenever you're done, talk to that woman who's been through that, who's now probably married and has a child or thinking about having a child. What will you also say to that woman?
I will have to start with the abortion decision. I know that sometimes whenever we look at our social media, we are watching TV, or just looking at the careers that we're wanting to get to, our lives, sometimes we feel like that child is going to come and be a hiccup in your plans. I want you to know that it is a human being, and whether we like it or not, it is bloodshed, and we may think that we are okay, but there are things later on, spiritual doors, as you said, that get opened. I still stand on, keep the baby. If you don't want to keep it, after you have him, give it to a couple that has been praying to have a child.
Yes.
Because all kids, all children are a blessing. And to my ladies that might have been through it, and now you're thinking in your head that, oh, maybe that mistake or maybe that sin is so great. There is nothing that the Lord cannot go in and remove.
Come on, Jesus.
You just need to come back to him and ask him for forgiveness, because he's there. He's the one who can. I mean, I was depressed. I was beyond depressed. It took pastors and counselors, Christian counselors, to bring me up and reading the Bible. So you can seek the Lord for forgiveness, and he will forgive you. He will forgive you, and your future is only a glimpse of what you're seeing. The Lord doesn't want to hold anything back from you just because of your past sin. When he forgives you, he forgets about it.
And you start over.
And you start over. Pick it up. Keep going.
Wow. Right.
Keep going.
Wow. Now, we are coming to the end of our show. Ladies, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, because this right here is stuff that we don't talk about in our community.
Correct.
Nope.
These are stuff that is taboo in the African, not just Congolese, in the African community.
Correct.
Betty, I know that you have a YouTube channel out there. You're doing Betty Going Public.
Yes.
And you're talking about things like this.
Yes.
And keep doing it.
Thank you.
Don't stop. You never know who's going through this right now.
Right.
And I know that you are becoming a stay-at-home mom, and I know you're running your business on Amazon. Whatever it is that you guys have going on, keep doing it. Share your story. There's a lot of stuff that we do not do as Africans. We don't talk about the real reasons why we went through what we went through. But you never know who you're helping out there. And I am grateful, and I appreciate you guys. We need to do a part 2. But we are running out of time. I am your host, Grace Kipasa. I wanted to share this story because I know that there's a young woman, a young man, a newlywed couple who's going through this situation, and it might not be easy. Here are great testimonies. Today there are mothers with 2 wonderful kids, biological kids, and bonus baby. I just love that. I like that. I like that. And you might find yourself in the same situation. Don't give up. Hang on tighter. We all make mistakes, but God wipes away all of our shame. I am your host, Grace Kipasa. Until next time, make sure you subscribe to our channel, YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And make sure you continue to comment, share. And if you would love to be part of our show and share your stories, we could talk about anything. Make sure you DM us and write us. Thank you so much. Mwah! I love you guys.